and we're taking a look at booze today. Constellation Brands. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I love this. About every 2 months, 3 months, we talk about Constellation Brands. Is a good topic, but as far as LikeFolio data, what are you guys seeing on this name?
Yeah, so LikeFolio data, we like to track what we call purchase intent mentions, and these are mentions on social media about people, where people are talking about buying these products, the brands and products that's owned by Constellation and other beer makers, or just simply consuming those beverages. And over time, we can get a pretty good indication of consumer demand for these brands. And one of the things that really stuck out for us on Constellation, they not too long ago acquired the rights to Modelo, and that beer has really taken off in our data in a considerable way, and is really looking like it's stealing market share from Michelob Ultra. And so you can see in this chart, you know, the white line is consumer demand for Modelo, whereas the red line is the consumer demand for Michelob Ultra. And it's got to be concerning for Budweiser that that Constellation Brands is able to put this type of portfolio together. When you combine it, especially with their Corona Refresca brand that they just launched, kind of a sparkling malt, which is doing extremely well in our data as well. You know, it's got to be concerning for Budweiser that kind of their premier light, you know, kind of exercise-friendly beer, I guess you could call it, is getting trounced by the Constellation newcomers.
Andy, obviously all these beer companies are under pressure because of the whole cannabis and pot, and you know, a lot of these companies are making investments in some of those companies. Has Constellation Brands done any of that? Because their stock shows what's happened to this overall sector in terms of stock getting beat up a little bit.
Well, it's really tough to keep up with Constellation. They do so many acquisitions, and their portfolio is so broad. I will say, on, you know, in terms of threats to the industry, what we see mostly, you know, while cannabis is a threat to the beer industry, another big threat is just simply the low sugar movement. You saw that with all the Super Bowl ads, you know, no corn syrup, all this kind of funny business with you know, what the ingredients are in these beers. And, you know, even though Budweiser's getting out in front of this and doing, you know, a pretty good job of tooting their own horn in terms of no corn syrup, the truth is Constellation Brands, Modelo, and Corona Refresca are doing a very good job of actually capturing market share. They aren't making as much noise, but people seem to like them better.
Yeah, and I think the point about the cannabis stocks is they have a big investment, nearly 10% in canopy growth. CGC is a ticker symbol. So they have diversified a little bit, and their product mix is probably the most diversified in this industry. But for more on social media, let's bring in TD Ameritrade Network's own Jenny Horn, lover of Zima and Truly, and some other brands. Zima.
I do like this topic.
Yes, of course.
It's fun.
You do.
So
she's got an extra bounce in her step coming in and talking about this.
I have some expertise. I don't know why. Yeah. So on social media today, there is a lot of positive hype about this kind of investment in CGC. I mean, people love the stake, people love the cannabis industry, but I have to say the stock is still down 28 28% off its 52-week highs. So there is some still definitely bearish noise out there, but it's completely overshadowed by the cannabis movement. I mean, people love this on social media, of course.
Okay, so what tweets do you have for us?
So our first tweet is from Charlie Cork, who says, "Been watching Constellation Brands since you pulled it in again. Haven't done anything yet, but looks like they cleaned out all the bull targets right before earnings release and have some bear ones far away. Wonder if they buy a bull one the day before to come back on an earnings release again." So what do you make of this tweet? Could we be in for another earnings surprise?
Definitely. I mean, you know, some of the consumer staples as far as earnings and growth have done. They've actually done pretty well. The discretionary sector did pretty well in the first quarter. It could provide a bounce, but I brought up a weekly 3-year chart. I mean, this stock's basically back to where it was in mid 2017. So, I mean, is the ability to go up a little bit, but they are investing a lot in their business, and that CapEx growth, you know, might hurt margins a little bit.
Yeah, and despite the fact that there's this negative noise around wine and beer, there are still so many premium brands in their portfolio.
I don't appreciate the negative talk around beer. And I don't know if this is a consumer staple.
We didn't
I consider this discretionary. Miller Lite's the only real staple. I'm not. Anyway.
Is that the one with corn syrup in it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Doesn't matter when it comes to beer.
All right,
Who
you got
cares?
another tweet for us.
So our next tweet says, I started a long position in Constellation today. Not a big fan of playing earnings, but the fact that Rob Sands and his brother bought 1 million shares after their last quarter makes me think it was a kitchen sinker. Looking for 200 plus off the number. So Andy, did you see this at all on social media? Because I saw a lot of noise about this Rob Sands buying a huge stake in the company, which was kind of funny because the noise is obviously completely mixed.
Yeah, the noise is mixed. I think anytime you get a big name coming into a company, it causes a little bit of commotion and can give investors some confidence. I think, one of the things I look at what Constellation did with Canopy Growth is kind of a hedge against their own business. But what really excites me about the company is, again, they're tapped into a consumer movement that is real in their core business, and that is in alcoholic beverages. And so the success of Corona, the success of Modelo tells me that while they do, diversify and think about the cannabis movement as real, they are performing very, very well in their core business. And I think that's a key factor, especially with the stock down, as you said, so much over the last couple of years.